Get your reactions ready. The live portion of the show will begin in just a moment.
Change. Is there a loop? That was given deep to left field. There it goes. See ya. Line. Base hit. Inside third.
Today is Saturday, July 8th. Game 2 between the Yankees and the Cubs, and the penultimate game of the first half before the All-Star break begins on Monday. And what is this? The Yankees actually scored some runs? My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
Welcome back, everybody. I tell you what, Giancarlo Stanton might end up with the longest and shortest home runs at Yankee Stadium this year. Hit one over the center field restaurant that went 485 feet, a couple months ago. And then today he hit one off the foul pole just a couple of inches above the fence. Can't really hit a shorter home run than that in this ballpark. So I told you guys yesterday that I was going to take the day off, but when the Yankees had 6 hits in the first 4 innings, I knew it was a special day. When they were hitting like an actual baseball team, I knew we might actually have something to talk about. So I rearranged some things, pulled together a recap, and here we go. So this was a time when the Yankees were facing a pitcher that they were absolutely built to face. There was a time when a soft-tossing lefty like Drew Smyly would kill the Yankees. And that time was, probably the mid to late 90s. And coincidentally, that's right around the time that Brian Cashman took over. So maybe subconsciously he's been trying to correct a problem that was there in the very beginning and just trying to build the same, right-handed mashing lineup for years and years and years. But, hey, it got it done today, so we're not going to complain. I thought that Mike Francesa had just an obvious but a pretty good tweet last night where he said it's just absolutely ridiculous that the Yankees have one legitimate left-handed hitter on this roster. But you see, it's just a much more fun game to watch, a much more fun way to spend your day when the team is hitting. And today, they were hitting. Giancarlo Stanton got things going.
Home run for Stanton.
This night is a wrecking machine. The ultimate male versus the ultimate meatball.
He hit one of the longest home runs, maybe, not in terms of StatCast distance, but certainly from the eye test that you'll ever see at Yankee Stadium. He hit the facing of the LED board that is pinned to the front of the upper deck going around the stadium in left field. I think I said it was 447 feet. I don't think there's any question that if that upper deck wasn't there, it might have gone 500 feet. That thing was smoked. We also got Josh Donaldson doing some damage today.
There it goes. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone.
10th home run of the season for Josh Donaldson. Bringer of rain, bringer of pain. Hitting 146 on the season, and pretty much everything he hits, he destroys. But he just doesn't get a lot of singles. It's the weirdest thing. We'll take the home runs. Would like him to mix in some other kind of hits, but we will take it. Bottom 5, Giancarlo Stanton once again. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Another home run, 314 feet down the line, off the pole. Dude needs to hit the weight room. What can we say? Garrett Cole picked up his 9th win of the season heading into the break. He's had a very nice first half, one of the few bright spots for the Yankees. He was very efficient today. He made it into the 8th inning. He does not do that very often. He served up a 2-run home run to Mike Tauchman. You kind of got to figure that's going to happen. Tauchman coming back in here. Pretty much every Yankee who comes back in here either hits a home run or dominates on the mound. It's just kind of like a rite of passage. You come to the Yankees, you shave your beard, You leave the Yankees, you grow a beard, and then you beat the Yankees. That's kind of the arc of a Major League Baseball player. Final line for Gerrit Cole: 7 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. 2.85 ERA, not too shabby. As Larry David would say, pretty good. Harrison Bader also had a 2-run double, and he made a very nice play in center field to end this one. And the Yankees even up the series and end their 3-game losing streak.
Ball game over. Yankees win. Yankees win.
Ronnie says it'll be so like the Yankees to get 1 hit tomorrow. You're not wrong. So we're going to get to the belt rather quickly today because it was a pretty easy decision. My man, Big G, with the 2 long balls. Really 1 long ball and 1 short ball, but we'll take it. I liked how he knew it was a home run, and I liked how you could hear it hit the pole. It reminded me of that home run that Fred McGriff hit off of the pole in either Game 1 or Game 2 of the 96 World Series. It was a line drive, just a rope, and it nailed the pole square on and just went dong. It kind of sounded a little bit something like this. A little bit. So, Frankie Baseball saying, can't believe it took until July 8th for Stanton's first belt. Can that be right? Was that really his first belt? I figured he would have gotten one the day he hit one 485 feet. But, Cole deserves some recognition. He had a very good game. Look, lot to like about this game, but as we said, this was a pitcher that the Yankees were supposed to shellac, and they did. And, it doesn't take away the 3-game losing streak. It doesn't take away the lack of effort a couple of nights ago. It doesn't take away the embarrassing loss to a guy who had a 6+ ERA last night to Jameson Taillon. And Taillon was very classy. He was asked if there was anything special about, coming in and dominating the Yankees like that. And he was very classy. He said, it's not like I have a chip on my shoulder or I want to stick it to those guys. I have a lot of love for those guys, a lot of friends on that team. He's just trying to do his job. So, like we always say about Jameson Taillon and have said for years, class act. All right, so we're going to take a look at the box score today. Volpe took the collar 0 for 3. He's on a little bit of an 0 for stretch since moving back into the leadoff spot. Look, who else are you going to put up there? But it seems to have done something to swing his luck. He's still hitting the ball hard from time to time, but just not hitting into the same luck in that spot of the order, I guess. Torres went 2 for 3. He also fell down on a swing that looked like he hurt himself. It looked like he twisted his ankle. Maybe his spike got caught. Spike got spot. Easy for me to say. But stayed in the game. Turns out he's okay. Stanton with the multi-hit game. 3 RBIs. Still hitting 208. Rizzo, 1 for 4. Bader, 1 for 4. Donaldson, 1 for 4. 1 for 3. LeMahieu, 1 for 4. And then IKF and Trevino both took the collar. So there was a comment on Reddit today that I thought deserved some attention, and I'll pull it up for you in just a moment here. I'll see if I can find it real quick. But it was essentially trying to explain why the Yankees stink effectively offensively, and it was the best and most succinct explanation that I've seen. It was essentially the question was, aren't Rizzo, Stanton, and DJ a little bit too young to be washed up? And it goes on to say, the Yankees in the 90s and early 2000s had a lot of success with players that age. Paul O'Neill had all-star seasons in his mid-30s. Bernie didn't start to decline until 34. Jeter was still good at 34. Posada, Scott Brocious, still good at 34. But the top comment, I thought, said it really well. This is courtesy of Patty Ice NY. Says, I think this will be the norm moving forward. Pitchers have become absolutely monstrous with their speed and movement, and players in the past used to be able to hit as they aged. And now, as soon as a hitter starts to slip, they become overwhelmed. They're behind it and have to start swinging earlier and probably guessing, too. It doesn't say that there, but yes, swinging earlier or guessing. And then the off-speed stuff comes in, and it's lights out. And I just thought that was a really succinct way of saying it. So, yeah, I think that, given the age of a lot of guys on this team, that does make some sense. Obviously Stanton still has bat speed, but he was never a great hitter to begin with. I think his career best is about 280, something like that, maybe 282. It's odd to see LeMahieu fall off as much as he's fallen off, hitting under 200 now. I believe he had a base hit today. 1 for 4. He's hitting 220, so 220. Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely something to do with guys just aging out quicker. And that also means that maybe younger players are going to be more successful. We're seeing the game shift that way. Michael Harris called up last year early. Volpe called up ahead of time. It's interesting to see how the dynamics of the game change year to year. Also worth noting Mike King, 1 2/3 scoreless innings today. His ERA is at 2.77. He's healthy. Hopefully he continues to pitch well. Today's recap is brought to you by the Game Time app. Look, there's a lot of good apps out there, and apps are getting incredible. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart with honesty. The Game Time app is awesome because I've been messing with it more now that they're a sponsor and just kind of looking through. They have tickets to everything, and it's cheap. And you don't have to book them a month ahead of time. You can wait till the last minute. Now, you're not always going to get front row seats, but if you just want to go see a concert, somebody's in town, you find out about it at the last minute, it's awesome. We went and saw a comedian the other night, an hour notice, maybe, and super cheap, way less than we would have paid if we had booked ahead of time. So use the code NYY Recaps for $20 off, and you will love the Game Time app. Lowest price on last-minute tickets, guaranteed. Doug Rouse says, great that they beat up on a lefty with bad numbers. That's what they're supposed to do. Bader's righty-lefty splits are troubling. Yeah, there's a lot of issues on this team with not being able to hit right-handed breaking balls. Giancarlo has no chance. Bader has a tough time. Volpe is still adjusting. He's hopefully going to learn to lay off of those pitches a little bit more. Trevino has no chance on righty breaking balls. Donaldson, if he's not looking fastball, or if he is looking fastball and gets a breaking ball, he's got no chance. Torres has been better at fouling them off this year, and, to his credit, he's cut down on his strikeout rate, but there's just a lot of guys on this team that struggle with that good right-handed breaking ball, the sweeper. And that's why it's so invasive in the game right now, is that they're seeing a lot of people on multiple teams have trouble with that. And because the Yankees have such an old offense, I mean, it's the old dogs can't learn new tricks kind of thing. Jasmine Drury says the offense is the weak point, and you're 100% correct. The pitching has been really good this year, despite, the loss to the Orioles the other night. They've had a lot of good games. The bullpen has been outstanding. Garrett Cole's had a good year. Looks like Rodon is back. He didn't go deep into the game last night, but he's still building his pitch count up. I feel really good about what Carlos Rodon gave us yesterday. He was better than I expected. When you hear chronic back injury, you expect 2 or 3 miles an hour to come off the fastball or to lose that extra little zip. He looked fine. He looked great to me. Dr. Hitskin says, hopefully Stanton isn't hurt again after getting hot. Well, here's the one thing that concerns me is that we're about to have the All-Star break. He's not going on the All-Star break this year. He's not going to go play in Seattle. Now, maybe he just needs a rest, or maybe this timing disruption is going to hurt him even worse. I don't know. I guess we'll find out next week, but it's definitely something to keep your eye on. Ken Mizrahi says, we need Juan Soto to bat between Judge and Stanton, and then we're in business. I just tell you what, it's not going to happen. First of all, Ken Rosenthal confirmed that the Padres have no intention of trading Juan Soto. They're not going to go backwards. Their intention is to try and re-sign Juan Soto. And they're not going to trade him. So that's just not going to happen. And even if the Yankees wanted to get Juan Soto, the cost would be astronomical. I still contend I would rather do one of those Nomar type of deals from the 2003 or 2004 Red Sox, where they got, I think it was Orlando Cabrera and Doug Mankiewicz. They shored up their defense. I think they got Dave Roberts. They got the pieces needed to get them over the hump, get them past the Yankees, and it worked. I don't know if there's enough pieces out there for the Yankees to get past the Orioles and the Rays, but you get into the playoffs, you've got the pitching to do some damage. Now you're going to have to go through an extra round, and maybe that's where having a fresh Carlos Rodon will help. But, and if we can get Severino back on track, which I'm not optimistic about, but you got to score. And it's been shown that this team cannot hit in the playoffs against good pitching. You face up against the Astros in the wild card, you're going to be done. You're going to be done in 2 games. Now you face off against the Angels? Maybe. But at some point, it's going to go through Houston, and Houston's got better pitching than the Yankees, although they've had some injuries too. But they're going to just shut down the Yankee bats. You know it's going to happen. And if it's not the Astros, it'll be somebody else. I'm sure of it. They just don't have the offense this year. They have got to get some kind of offense. Skanky Trick says, doesn't want Ohtani. I don't understand why anybody wouldn't want Ohtani. Ohtani's the best player in baseball. Not even close. Not even close. I used to think that Judge was the best player, but seeing the way Ohtani's evolved as a pitcher, he's probably going to win the Cy Young and the MVP this year and hit 45 home runs. I mean, and he's fast. And he's a good guy. And I believe he hits for average. I don't know what he's hitting right now. I can find out for you. But I don't know why you wouldn't want him. And he's on the field. Like, he takes the field. He's hitting .297 with 31 home runs. He's got 11 stolen bases. He's got a 178 OPS plus. So he's 78% better than league average. And he's a dominating pitcher. I'm going to see if I can find his pitching stats because it doesn't break them out. Oh, here we go. So he is 7-4 with a 3.32 ERA, 100 innings, 132 strikeouts. So maybe not the Cy Young, but putting up huge numbers. And he's got some of the filthiest stuff in the league. I don't know why you wouldn't want Ohtani. Yankees don't have what it takes to get Ohtani. And again, don't think the Angels are trading Ohtani because he makes them so much money. They sell out all the time if he pitches. I mean, he brings in tons of jersey sales. He brings in a lot of money on the foreign side of things. That's one of the reasons I think the Yankees might be in it to sign him. Now, I've heard that he doesn't want to play on the East Coast. That was certainly the case when he was coming to the major leagues. He met with the Yankees, but he didn't care to play for the Yankees. Chose a team out west. But I've also heard he wants to go to a winning team, and that's not really going to help the Yankees too much. All right, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I will be back tomorrow. Let's get your final comments in.
Game over, man. It's game over. I gotta get out of here.
Albert says his concern with Ohtani is how long he'll hold up both on offense and defense. It's a good point. He's 28 years old. Is he going to want a 15-year contract? I mean, if he does, you got to say no.
Most impressive.
But he's a weird guy. He might not want a long contract. He might just want a couple of... he's just a weird guy. He doesn't care about anything off the field. He doesn't really have any interests outside of baseball. He might be one of those guys that wants to try a city for a couple of years. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that he's like, well, let me try New York. Let me go play where Matsui played. Let me go play where Tanaka played. Matsui's a legend over there. He's got to have some recruiting power. And the Yankees have done that before. They used him to recruit Tanaka. So, but it didn't work last time with Shohei. But having taken aim at that porch so many times, I mean, he kills it every time he comes to Yankee Stadium. He's got to know what kind of numbers he would put up if he came here. And, you mix him in there with Judge, put him in the rotation, can't hurt. But he also is a DH most of the time. And the Yankees have Giancarlo Stanton, and I don't see him going anywhere. And I don't want to bust on him too much today because he hit 2 home runs. But anyway, it's a fun thing to think about. That's why we love sports, and we'll spend the next several months talking about it, I'm sure. But for today, I'm going to go make some burgers on the grill and we'll see you tomorrow.
Ball game over.
Most impressive.